Today I'm going to give you a quick rundown of some of the mods I've done to my 2021 Prado GXL. A few trips and a couple of mods, so I'll take you through those quickly. On the front, bull bar. Initially I was looking actually at other bull bars, but it actually all came down in the end to two things for me personally. And the main one really was fitment and the fitter that was going to do it. I was originally looking at some different bars, different manufacturers, had a couple of options in mind, but when I went to look at who was going to fit them for me, because this is not for me, I actually was not overconfident in some of the reviews that I started to read. And I live in a place where there's not a lot of fitters, so you know, it was important for me to have a relationship with the guys that I trusted. So it did really come down to the fact that there was appeared to be one really good dealer, fitment center quite close to me, that had got good reviews, and their customers seemed all very happy. And again, you know, warranty is one of my concerns, as well as, you know, you're being out bush, you don't want things to start rattling and falling off. Anyway, cut a long story short, because it's already too long, I went for the ARB because look, it's certainly up there and ranks very highly. You know, there's an awful lot of them about, big business, well established, so you know what, don't think you can go wrong with an ARB personally. Yeah, it was a little bit more expensive, there's no doubt about it, but I'm really happy with it. And as I said, two reasons. One was the fitment, trusting the person that fitted it, and the second one was warranty. And that really hinges around the fact that the 2021 Prado has got, you know, all the collision sensing stuff, prevention. So it was making sure that that's still good, making sure airbags are all certified, and I know all the bull bars are certified for all that, but you know what, I also didn't want any trouble from Toyota if there was anything that needed to be done. So really sort of just, those were the two reasons. I love the Summit bar actually, and as I said, it was a little bit more than I wanted to spend, but in the end I think it's worth it. For instance, when I put the spotlights on, no drilling of holes, all cables and everything holes are in the right place. The fact is that they move the fog lights into the bull bar from the car, and it's got additional set of driving lights and indicator lights, which are these ones here. Interestingly, they do cut the front bumper down a bit as well, but they've done a nice job of that. So again, down to fitment, you want somebody to do that sort of stuff well. And then with the Summit bar, I had a Bush Ranger 10,000 pound winch put on. That is cabled remote, not wireless. I think again, if you're out stuck somewhere, you want to be pretty sure that everything's going to work. Interestingly, that they hide the winch underneath the license plate, which I do actually really like. I think that's really neat and tidy, keeps it out of the way, stops dust and crap going straight into it when you're driving. So I like that. And those of you that may notice, I did go for a steel cable winch, and I can already hear the comments on that one. Yeah, I know it's a lot heavier, I realise that, and I'm going to try and save weight in other places. But for me, a winch is not something I'm going to use very often. You know, I may not use it for 2 years or more. I don't want the maintenance that the synthetic ropes bring. And you have to replace them periodically and check it out. You know, I don't really want to be doing that every couple of years if I hardly ever use it. Anyway, I know weight and everything, but let's see how we go. I might say something different in a year or so, mightn't I? Anyway, so underneath then they put the standard bash plates that come with the bar. So there's a side plate there, and then the main one in the middle, and obviously on the right hand side as well. And whilst we're under here, you'll notice I've got recovery hooks, and those are the ARB recovery hooks in there. I went with a lot whilst I was in the fitment center. One of the nice things I would say whilst we're on the front of the vehicle with the Summit bar, as I did mention, was the holes for the spotlights were all lined up. There's even a cable hole in the back, which I can't really get you to see, but yeah, the cable hole in the back all lines up beautifully. Done no drilling, nothing, which is great. The other thing with the spotlight fitting, I'll put these ones on myself, is that you can get underneath to the nuts underneath the spotlight. Sorry, the sun's a bit there, underneath the spotlight there. So really nice that you can actually get inside there and sort that out. So that's a nice little feature, I have to say. Whilst we're on the front, went for the Steady Sport X spotlights, and you're probably all asking why the cover's black, because they don't sell black ones. That is because I sprayed them black. And the reason I sprayed them black is because I'm not a big fan of advertising other companies' products. So I generally, and you'll see with the vehicle, I've taken off all the Toyota dealership stickers. I take all that stuff off. You know, at the end of the day, nobody pays me for advertising. And I don't need to tell everybody I've got Steady spotlights on. You know, I think they're a good compromise for me. I don't need lights very often. But when we're traveling out bush, just in case, you know, we're coming back late from somewhere, I decided that, yeah, you've got to have something half decent. So yeah, I went for the Steadies, and these are only the 7-inch ones, interestingly. And again, to that point, 7-inch, I don't need anything massive. I don't need the 8.5-inch. And I also felt that the 8.5-inch would have come right up to the top of the bull bar here and would have really been very big here. I have some worries about two things at the front. One is the sensor, which is in the badge for the adaptive cruise control and collision avoidance systems are in there, and I get it, they probably would be all right still, but you're starting to encroach into that space a little bit. The second point for me is airflow. I live in a hot country. I do worry a little bit, if you really have got a big spotlight here, you're going to restrict the airflow, although there's no proven incidents of engines getting too hot. And yes, you got a fan and that will cool it. The other thing for me was weight. I've got, as I just said, steel cable, so you know, I don't need the big lights. I'm not driving after dark very often, so I don't need the extra power of the bigger ones. These should do. I might put in a little bit of extra lighting with a light bar of some sort at some stage, and I'm still deciding whether I can get on the roof. But anyway, if I do need extra light, but certainly for the foreseeable future, I'm not planning on doing any after dark driving. So moving around, suspension, went for the old man Emu suspension, 5 centimeter or 2-inch lift here, which is the standard in Australia, that's legally allowed without doing any GVM mods, and they use the Nitro Charger shocks in those. I'm no expert on suspension, so I'll yet to see how that goes, but so far I've taken it off-road, very happy with it, very comfortable ride. On the front I've got the heavy-duty springs, coils, because obviously heavy weight on the front, and on the rear I've got the mediums because we're not loaded up all the time. And then up on top, for those of you in my other videos, Tracklander roof rack. Very happy with the Tracklander. I've got zero wind noise with it, really pleased with it. Very low profile, really happy about that one. And then moving around the back, as I said, suspension at the rear, and then at the back I've taken off the rear tire cover and housing, which I'm pretty glad about, especially in a recent trip we were away and I damaged a tire, and it was all good to be able to get in and out of there nice and easily. Also good for climbing on the roof if you need to. And the other thing at the back, whilst we're here, went for the this is actually the Heyman Reese tow bar, and not the Toyota one. And the reason I went Heyman Reese is that it's $300 cheaper than the Toyota one basically, and I I don't plan on doing any towing at this moment, but you never say never. I might carry the kids' bicycles. I've got a bicycle rack that goes on there, and I might use it as a recovery point, but I have no desire. I don't tow anything big. I'm not planning on doing any towing unless I have to. It's really there for just in case. And they do actually, interestingly, fit it with the Toyota wiring harness, so that's the official Toyota wiring harness in there. So electrical, I'll do a separate video on the spotlights because that's quite a big job in itself. Electrical, we've done dual battery, so dual battery in there. I went for, interestingly, what's called an SSB battery. That's a 105 amp hours. That is then wired into a Redarc BC-DC, which is sitting in there. If I can get you in there somewhere, there, it's sitting in there inside the grill there. I'll put all that in myself, and that is I'm really happy with that. It's the BC-DC connector. So on to that, I put in Anderson plug for solar. That goes straight into the BC-DC connector. Then that's got what's called a BM2, which is monitoring the battery. That's really good. It works with an app, and actually I put one on the main battery as well because it's really good to be able to monitor both batteries. Very happy about that. I'll do a separate video on electrical, as I said, because there's quite a bit to it. Also wired back to the back of the car for fridge. Put in a new cable for the fridge. 6mm cable runs to the back, ready for fridge connection and charging additional things. So in the back, wired back to the electrical point, as I said, for fridge and charging. So in here we've got fridge point, 12 volt, and then USB charger, very useful when we're out and about for charging USB stuff. Moving on from electrical, I had the snorkel fitted from new by the dealer. Decided that air intake to the engine was certainly worth the extra $60 to $70 that they charged above anybody else, and that's done, so I don't impact any warranty there. As I said, I'll do a video on the electrical and spotlights, because with the auto sensing high beam switching and stuff, that is a little bit tricky to get your head around. And certainly I found that a bit more complicated than I thought. Didn't think about it, but I thought I'll do a separate video on that. Anyway, that's all the mods for today. Thank you for watching.